For the next objective, it is going to be extremely, extremely important to be able to identify composed functions. What we're doing here is we're going the other way. We're taking a function that's been composed, we're breaking it apart into its component functions. And there are a couple steps for this. The first step draw any box functions. And I'll explain to you what a box function is in just a second. If there is one, though, if there is anything except x in the box, when you draw it, then multiple functions have been composed. So here are the box functions. They are power functions, that's anything raised to a power, so the variable is right here. This is any number. Also exponential functions. So that's e, there'd be a variable in here. That's the most common one, or really any other number. But the key thing is that there's a variable in the exponent. Other box functions are trigonometric functions. So that's sine of something, cosecant of something, etc. So there are 6 of those. The variable is going to be right in there. Notice this is not sine times box, it is sine of box. These two things cannot be separated. And then the final box function is logarithmic. So the most common is ln, but really it can be log any number. Well, the base has to be greater than 0 in order for the logarithmic function to be possible at all, but any number that's there to begin with will be fine. And again, the variables are in the boxes. That's going to be the first step. The second step is simply going to be to write the functions outside and inside the box separately. So let's give an example of what this looks like. If f of g of x equals the natural log of 3x plus 1, identify f of x and g of x. Okay, So the first thing to notice here is that we have f of g of x. This is a composition. That means there's going to be an outside function and an inside function. The first thing we're going to look for are our box functions here. So any of these. So look through and see what's in the problem. Notice natural log, ln, right there. That, whatever is next to it, especially inside these parentheses, this is a box. So what this means is it means that we have an outside function. I'll do that in red. Which is this ln box. Basically, I'm going to ignore what's inside the box. I'm just going to write ln box. Notice that this f is also my outside function. So the outside function is f. It's called f of x. And it's just going to be ln box. Remember, the x just stands in for a box. So there's my function. If you wanted to write it as f of box equals ln box, that's okay, but this is the formal notation for it. So there's one of my answers. And then I can also look at what's inside. So I'm just care about what's inside that purple box there. I can see that that's 3x plus 1. There's already an x there. And notice that the inside function right here was g of x. So that means that g of x equals what's inside 3x plus 1. Notice that if we check our work, f of g of x, so we're just going to compose it. That's going to be f box equals ln box, and then the g of x gets put inside the two boxes. And I said g of x was 3x plus 1. Lo and behold, we're right back where we started. Okay, so let's do some practice with that. If f of g of x equals 2x plus 5 to the third power, identify f of x and g of x. So the first thing I look for here are any of my box functions. Notice that anything to a power is a box function. So that means I've got a little box right here. The parentheses are also a really good thing to look for. Frequently you've got a box where you have parentheses. So now we're going to split this into our outside. So I'm not looking at what's in the box, it's just I can see this is box to the third power. F is my outside function, so we're really saying f of box equals box to the third, or f of x equals x to the third, because we're asked to find f of x. So there's one of my functions. Now we're looking at the inside, and I can see that what's inside the box is 2x plus 5. My inside function is called g. So there's g of x. That's it. Let's have you try one on your own for practice. If f of g of x equals sine of 7x, identify f of x and g of x. Okay, pause the video, try to do that one on your own, and when you're ready, restart the video. Okay, first we're looking for box functions. Trigonometric functions are box functions, so whatever's right next to it goes in the box. We're going to do our outside function first. Outside is f. So we've got sine box. F of box equals sine box. We're looking for f of x, so f of x equals sine of x. Looking at what's inside. Inside the box is 7x. There's already an x there. Our inside function is g of x. So g of x equals 7x.